From the pages of MikeHuckabee.com, the place to read all my columns and hot takes on all the news of the day, let's take a look back at the stories that made up the week that was. And to have those hot takes beamed right to your email inbox twice a day, all you got to do is sign up for the totally free Huckabee newsletter. That's at MikeHuckabee.com. Well, amid the border crisis that doesn't seem to have any end in sight, President Biden appointed Vice President Kamala Harris to look into the disaster that he created. Maybe it was the way that she broke up laughing like a hyena when a reporter asked if she was going to go visit the border. Maybe that was what convinced him that she was the right person for the job. Or maybe he knew he could trust her to find some way to blame this entire chaotic nightmare on Donald Trump. Or maybe it's just that Biden himself doesn't travel so well these days. But for whatever reason, Vice President Harris was chosen to solve the baffling mystery of the broken border, which is overrun with migrants the very minute that Joe Biden reversed all of Trump's border policies. And some people don't think Harris is the right person for the job. Here's Arizona Governor Doug Ducey just this week.
She's about the worst possible choice that one could make. In no point in her career has she given any indication that she considers the border a problem or a serious threat.
Come to think of it, if Joe Biden was looking for someone to represent his views on border security, then it kind of sounds like Kamala Harris is the perfect choice. As Attorney General, she helped turn California into a sanctuary state. Maybe we're about to find out what a sanctuary country looks like. And speaking of California, how did defund the police work out? Well, last summer, the San Francisco Chronicle named Oakland as a test case as the city slashed police funding by about $150 million. Well, the test results are in. And if defunding the police were a college student, he would have flunked out. Less than a year later, Oakland is on track for a record-breaking year for murders. So far, there have been 34 homicides. That's about triple the number by this time last year. Among the key factors blamed is the lowest number of police officers in years. Short-handed investigators are working around the clock trying to solve all the murders. The mayor is urging the city council to use the money from the COVID-19 bill to prioritizing restoring critical police services that the city was forced to cut due to massive revenue losses from the pandemic. Oh, sure, it was the pandemic that made all those liberal cities cut their police budgets. And it wasn't the deranged politicians and activists claiming widespread institutional racism in police ranks. We'll find out which experiment turns out to be deadlier. Scientists messing around with bat viruses in a lab in Wuhan are defunding American police. Let's go on to the Twitterverse. The internet was buzzing after President Joe Biden's first press conference. Benny Johnson tweets, and I quote, "This is the exact moment when Joe Biden knew having a press conference was a mistake."
So the best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to, anyway, we're going to get a lot done.
Biden also said during that press conference that he would run for re-election, but he's never been that good about planning anything 3 or 4 years ahead, which is just what you want to hear from the supposed leader of the free world, as China is planning 50 years ahead. By the way, here's what he said about China while he rocked back and forth for some reason during that very same press conference.
China has an overall goal, and I don't criticize them for the goal, but they have an overall goal to become the leading country in the world, the wealthiest country in the world, and the most powerful country in the world.
Mr. President, China runs actual concentration camps, spies on its citizens in ways that East Germany could have only dreamed of, threatens its neighbors, steals our technology, and that's just off the top of my head. But nothing much to criticize there, right? John Cooper added this, embarrassing, dangerous. The CCP is evil, and our president shouldn't be excusing it, end quote. And spot on. A heartfelt shout out to a teenager in New Jersey who helps shelter dogs get adopted by sewing them bow ties. The Washington Post reports that Darius Brown was just 8 years old when his sister taught him to sew. And his mom, Joy, says he started out cutting fabric, and pretty soon he was running the sewing machine all by himself. He now makes about 10 ties a week. He helps shelter dogs stand out and look hilarious and adorable on social media pages. Darius says one day he hopes to open his own shelter and to expand his line of accessories to include sweaters. Finally, I leave you with a thought from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., something to keep you moving forward if you're feeling a little disappointed with our state of affairs. He said, quote, "We must accept finite disappointment, but never lose infinite hope." Well, until next time, these have been the facts of the matter. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, be sure to leave a like, then subscribe, and hit the notification bell below. Now, if you didn't like it, you ought to find a Ben Shapiro video to detox you with more facts.